After many years of working together as spies for MI6, the couple finally learns that they're having a baby. Because of this, they decide it's time to leave the spy world behind. But their past refuses to stay quiet, and eventually their old job comes back to haunt them. 15 years before they retired, Matthew and Emily got a call from MI6 headquarters. They're told that their target is inside his residential building, celebrating his 8-year-old child's birthday. When they arrive, the two disguise themselves as a French couple. Pretending to be French arms dealers, they act so convincingly that their target, a dangerous arms dealer named Gore, doesn't suspect anything. He even lets them join the party and enjoy themselves. Earlier, Emily shook Gore's hand, and she used that handshake to secretly scan his fingerprint with a small device hidden under her sleeve. With the fingerprint copied, she uses it to steal a powerful item called the IC key. This device is basically a master key that can destroy an entire city if it falls into the wrong hands. Soon after, an alarm goes off, and the mansion's security team rushes in. But none of them stand a chance. Matthew and Emily take them all down quickly and skillfully. Their mission supervisor, Chuck, calls to tell them to get to the extraction point immediately, and to tell absolutely no one about the IC key. When they arrive at the meeting point, it becomes clear that one of their fellow agents, Baron, secretly likes Emily, although he hides it. On the plane, Emily decides to tell Matthew that she's pregnant with his child. She's worried he might not accept it, especially since spies usually don't settle down or raise families. But Matthew surprises her. He's happy, he wants the baby, and he's excited to become a father. To celebrate, he calls for champagne. Right then, Emily tries to use the bathroom, but is told she can't. She feels something isn't right. Before she can react, the flight attendant grabs her from behind and demands the IC key. Matthew slowly takes it out and tosses it to him. The moment the flight attendant looks at the key, he loosens his grip on Emily, giving the couple a chance to overpower him and throw him aside. Suddenly, a huge fight breaks out because it turns out that everyone on the plane is actually a bad guy. Emily manages to take the bullets out of a gun, but the flight attendant finds them and reloads the weapon. Just as he's about to shoot Emily, Matthew grabs him from behind. The bullet misses Emily and hits the pilot instead. With the pilot dead, the plane loses control and crashes into a snowy mountain. During the crash, the plane splits into two halves, and the flight attendant still holds the IC key. The plane is falling fast. Seeing this, Matthew grabs the last remaining parachute and gives it to Emily. He tells her to take care of herself and their baby, clearly ready to sacrifice himself. But Emily refuses to let him die. She grabs him tightly by the thigh as she jumps, and together they glide through the snowy mountains until they land safely. After they recover, Matthew tells Emily that they don't need to be spies anymore. Since their plane crashed, the agency will think they died. This is their chance to disappear forever and start a peaceful new life as a real family. 15 years later, the couple is living a quiet, happy life with their two children, Alice and Leo. Alice is a stubborn teenager, and sometimes Matthew and Emily are even scared to confront her when she misbehaves. But she's smart enough to know when her parents are lying. When she once heard her dad speaking Russian, she immediately suspected something was off about their normal lives. Inside the car, Emily tries to connect with her daughter by suggesting they watch a movie together, but Alice refuses. She says she has a study date with a friend. When they drop her off at school, Matthew and Emily see Alice kiss her boyfriend. They even use binoculars to get a closer look. Alice notices, embarrasses them in front of her friends, and tells them they're acting weird. Back at home, Emily vents about how much she cares for her daughter, care she never got from her own mother. Suddenly, she hears a beeping sound. It's Alice's computer. Emily tries random passwords and then notices some scribbles on a piece of paper behind the computer. Using the clues, she guesses the password correctly. Matthew joins her, and Emily points out that Alice might be lying to them. As former spies, they feel the need to keep an eye on their kids. When Emily finally gets into the computer, she sees that Alice is at a totally different location, nowhere near her friend's house. They check the GPS tracker on Alice's phone and discover she's actually at a club. They rush there immediately. When they find Alice, they tell her to come home, but she argues that other kids her age are also having fun. She even reveals that she has a fake ID. A random guy walks up to Emily and tells her Alice isn't going anywhere, calling Emily a boomer. When Emily tries to walk away, the guy grabs her arm. That's his mistake. Emily grabs him by the throat and slams his head on the platform. A huge fight breaks out, and Matthew jumps in too. Together, the couple destroys the party. At one point, Matthew sees a teenager recording the fight. so he grabs the phone and deletes the video. Inside the car, the argument continues. Alice complains about being embarrassed and demands to know how her parents fought so well. Matthew and Emily lie again, saying they learned a few moves at a taekwondo class and practiced until they got good. Alice doesn't believe a word and storms off to her room. Emily starts missing the excitement of their old spy life. Matthew reminds her that they left that world behind for their family. To cheer her up, he begins to gently spar with her like they used to. Meanwhile, Alice blames her little brother, Leo, for telling their parents where she was. Leo insists he didn't do anything, but he's secretly happy she got grounded. The next morning, Matthew and Emily are surprised when Chuck suddenly shows up at their house. Matthew is shocked to see him, and Chuck explains that he found them because an online video showed them beating up several men inside the nightclub. Chuck also reveals something even more troubling. Baron, their old colleague, was the one who set them up years ago, and Baron has been secretly working with Gore. Chuck warns them that he's only there to help, and he believes their home is no longer safe. He tells them they need to leave immediately before something happens. But before Chuck can finish a sentence, a sniper shoots him down right in front of them. At that moment, a group of mercenaries rushes in and starts firing wildly at the house. Thankfully, the kids are at school, so Matthew and Emily only need to escape themselves for the moment. They dodge bullets and manage to get to their car, speeding away to pick up their children. While they're being chased, Matthew reveals a huge secret. He still has the IC key. He never gave the real one to the flight attendant during the plane incident. Instead, he switched it and hid the real IC key at Emily's mom's house in England. Emily is furious, and she can't believe he kept such an important secret from her. During the car chase, one of the enemy cars gets too close. Matthew quickly grabs a Diet Coke bottle, stuffs Mentos inside, and throws at the bad guys. The explosion of soda makes them lose control and crash straight into a truck, sending the attackers flying. With the road cleared for the moment, Matthew and Emily rush to pick up their kids and immediately drive to the airport. Inside the car, the kids keep asking a million questions, confused about what's going on. Matthew and Emily begin revealing a few secrets they've been hiding their entire lives. To explain the sudden rush, Emily tells the kids that their grandma is still alive, and they're going to stay with her for a while. When they land in London, Matthew and Emily cover their faces to avoid security cameras. Alice still has no idea what any of this means and is totally overwhelmed. They quickly take a bus to a secluded parking area and steal a car, pretending to the kids that the car was left there by their personal chauffeur. Meanwhile, Baron arrives at the airport and checks the camera footage, trying to follow their trail. At the same time, some of Gore's men are already closing in on them as well. Inside the car, Matthew and Emily tell their kids to turn off their phones so they can't be tracked. But eventually, the stolen car runs out of fuel, so they stop at a gas station. The kids argue about the truth of their parents' identities. When they check their passports, they're shocked to see completely different names. One of the kids even Googles their last name on his play switch and discovers the identity belongs to someone dead for years. Matthew and Emily step aside to plan their next move. Matthew says that they need to find the IC key and take it to MI6 so they can negotiate immunity. But before they can think too long, a group of Gore's men arrives at the gas station. Matthew grabs a gas pump and uses it like a flamethrower to hold them back. Emily jumps in as well, happily fighting the attackers hand to hand. Their kids stare in complete shock, realizing their parents really do know how to fight like trained professionals. After defeating the men, Matthew and Emily pull the kids back into the car and drive away as fast as possible. Baron soon arrives with his agents, but Matthew shoots at a truck carrying giant metal pipes. The pipes roll off the truck and create a massive barrier in the road, blocking Baron and his men from following. Inside the car, the kids refuse to stay quiet anymore. They demand to know who their parents really are. With no other choice, Matthew finally tells them the truth. He and Emily used to work as spies for the CIA, but that was a long time ago. At that moment, Matthew notices that Leo's place switch still has Wi-Fi turned on. Afraid it could be tracked, he grabs it and throws it out of the car. When they arrive at Emily's mom's house, they suddenly hear a loud gunshot. It turns out Grandma was outside, shooting at a harmless bird. Emily is immediately annoyed, and a heated argument breaks out between her and her mother. They continue arguing inside the house, and Matthew tries to calm things down by explaining why they came in the first place. Suddenly, a middle-aged man named Nigel walks in. He is Grandma's new lover, and he cheerfully introduces himself to the kids, insisting they call him Grandpa. Meanwhile, Baron uses his resources to track their location after learning that Emily's mom once worked for MI6 too. Nigel takes the kids to his special room and tries to impress Leo, showing him his school projects and telling him he also writes computer code. Meanwhile, Matthew finally admits to Grandma that he hid the IC key somewhere on her property, and they only came to get it. Another argument breaks out, and Emily tells her mom that she was never there for her when she was growing up. Grandma shoots back, saying Emily just hates her. Alice overhears everything from the hallway, but quietly leaves before anyone notices. Grandma explains that she always tried her best to balance her job with being a mother, but Emily chose to attend a boarding school in America. Matthew and Emily then head out to search for the hidden IC key, while Grandma takes the chance to spend time with Alice and bond with her. During this time, a group of armed militia members sneaks into the property. After Matthew and Emily find the key, they hear noises outside and rush back into the house. To their shock, they find Grandma and Nigel tied up. They quickly free her, but before they can escape, they are surrounded by a group of armed men. Even more surprising is what happens next. Chuck walks in alive. They're shocked because they saw him get shot by a sniper. Chuck reveals that the sniper was fake and everything that happened earlier was staged. He says he planned all of this because he needed them to lead him to the key. He explains that when they disappeared 15 years ago, the agency blamed him for losing the IC key. He was fired and his whole life fell apart. Now he wants to sell the key on the black market so he can rebuild everything he lost. Meanwhile, another group of armed men checks on Grandma, thinking she's still tied up, but she secretly slips away and takes them out with a tranquilizer dart. When another man enters the room, she fights him too. During the struggle, a gun accidentally goes off and Nigel gets shot in the arm. Using the sudden distraction, Matthew and Emily quickly grab the chance to disarm several of the armed men around them. But Chuck immediately yells at his team to take the kids as hostages. He warns Matthew and Emily not to try anything stupid unless they want their children to get hurt. Before they can react, someone hits them from behind, knocking both of them out. They wake up later with Grandma beside them. She helps them up, and they all rush to check the CCTV cameras, hoping to find any clue about where the kids were taken. Luckily, Leo left a little hint. He still has his thumb ring on. With that ring, Grandma can use the CCTV system to track the signal and figure out the location where the kids are being held. Meanwhile, Chuck is at a secret location trying to sell the IC key to the highest bidder. Since Gore never paid him for recovering the key, Gore has now sent his own men to get it back. To impress the buyers, Chuck demonstrates how much power the IC key has. With the help of his tech expert, he shuts down electricity across the entire city with just a few button presses. He even opens a massive water barrier that normally can only be controlled by naval officers. Seeing this level of power, the buyers start placing their bids. Back with Matthew and Emily, they arrive at the building where the kids are being kept, but the front entrance is packed with guards. With no other choice, the couple fights their way through all of them, taking down every guard that stands in their way. Inside, the bidding ends, and the IC key is sold for a huge amount of money, $250 million. Baron finally catches up and enters the building. He tells Matthew and Emily that the agency knows Chuck is behind everything, and they want to arrest him. But to do that, they all need to work together. They soon find Chuck, but he escapes and runs out of the building, with the couple chasing him as fast as they can. Chuck calls his team and orders them to take the kids to the boat while he escapes with them. On the road, Matthew and Emily are suddenly stopped by Gore's men, who point guns at them and demand the key. The couple tells them they don't have it. At that moment, a red sniper dot appears on one of the men's faces. The shooter turns out to be Emily's mom, who has been following them. Seeing this, Gore's men surrender immediately. Matthew and Emily take their motorcycles and speed off to chase Chuck, who is already escaping on a boat with the kids. Some of Gore's men get a message that Matthew and Emily escaped, so another group chases the couple on motorcycles. But after turning sharply into a narrow alley, the chasing riders lose control and fall straight into a dumpster. Emily fights her own pursuer, flipping him onto a platform and causing him to crash. She spots a small boat, jumps into it, and speeds after Chuck. Matthew follows right after her. At the same time, Nigel refuses to just sit and wait. After seeing the armed men, he speeds toward their car and crashes into it, knocking the driver out. He rushes inside with a computer and proudly tells Grandma that he has the IC key device. Grandma tells him to hurry and try to close the water barrier. But Nigel has a problem. He lied on his resume and actually doesn't know anything about the computer system. He stares at the screen, confused by all the buttons, and begins pressing random options that keep showing error codes. Back on the water, Emily reaches Chuck's boat and starts fighting his men. She knocks several of them overboard, throwing others into the water. Matthew joins the fight a moment later. Then, something surprising happens. Nigel randomly presses more buttons, and by luck, the barrier finally begins to close. Seeing the barrier coming down, the family knows they have to jump. Chuck tries to stop them, but Matthew punches him with help from Emily. The family jumps into the water just in time. Chuck tries to recover and steer the boat, but it's too late. His boat crashes straight into the closing barrier, and finally, he dies. The family survives and is finally safe. Sometime later, in America, Alice scored the winning penalty during her first football championship game. Everyone is cheering. After the match, Alice tells her mom that she would love to go watch a movie together. Meanwhile, Nigel tells Leo that he will teach him everything he needs to know about being a spy. Matthew and Emily are happy that their lives are finally getting back to normal. But things don't stay quiet for long. Inside their car, Baron suddenly pops up from the back seat, revealing that Chuck is still alive. Emily will need a partner to go after him again, but the partner won't be Matthew. Curious and confused, Matthew asks who the partner is. Back in Action Movie ends with Baron reveals the shocking truth. The partner is Emily's father, and finally, Matthew is stunned because Emily never mentioned that her dad was still alive. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notification so you don't miss the latest recaps.